Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you America's top foundational health coach, Dr. Joe D.
Hey there, I'm Dr. Jody Bear, bringing you yet another amazing guest here to Life's Milkshake Moments. I want to thank you for coming again. Thank you. If you don't know about me, you're going to find out about us, about Boca, and about all things health. I am Dr. Jody Bear, known as America's top foundational health coach for the last 43 years. Before I retired, at least I thought so, I was honored to say that over 30,000 of my clients went ahead and lost 1.1 million pounds of toxic fat, lost with only a 5% recidivism rate. And then during this COVID era, when I came back out of retirement, as my husband said, there was more in my milkshake. There was more in my life's milkshake. As I was just thinking, I sold my practice. It was time for me to enjoy and doing what I was going to do. After all, I was 66. And he said, Jody, when the pandemic hit, only you know what you know. People need you. So I said to myself, how do I build that new life's milkshake moment? I didn't know much about the internet. I was going ahead and had not a big presence on social media, but I knew I had the ice cream. I knew that I had the ingredients. I knew that I had the desire still to help mankind. And as my husband Bob said, just how much yoga are you going to do? So here I am. This month is my 8th decade in this world, turning 70, and I'm more alive, more vibrant, and more excited than ever, because this whole thing, as Les Brown says, from brick and mortar to click and order, that we can be out in the internet. I can meet this new best friend of mine that will be our keynote speaker at Healthopedia. Didn't even know him. Gosh, a week and a half ago. And now he has graced my presence. Why? Because now with this click and order way of building a milkshake, it is 2 degrees of separation. It's no longer 6. Thanks to Tom Chesser, the real glue behind so much of Traverse TV, the glue with what we're doing here on Healthopedia. And I just want to honor him once again. I know he's out doing the Super Bowl routine, but guess what? Tom Chesser, you are the Super Bowl and the pre-Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl in many of our lives, as we do and what we do with Rise Up Marketing and Media. So what are we doing here tonight? We're talking about a quantum field, a very heady subject that someone has brought down to humanity. It fits in all 6 pillars of my practice, what I've done in my mission, my statement from spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial. It is necessary for us to know and do the new way, because not that the old ways were bad. I think about it that my mother didn't even much know a fax machine. We had an answering machine, but she didn't know a fax machine. Think about how technology has moved through. But what do I say about Life's Milkshake Moment? What have I said about this book that's on its way to New York Times bestseller, just not Amazon bestseller, in all 13 categories in 3.5 hours? It's because it's not artificial intelligence. As my teacher, mentor, guru, and now partner with Healthopedia says, it is artistic intelligence. You will hear the artistry of my guest here tonight. You will feel, I just think you'll just really feel like you've gained a couple of points in your IQ. Absolutely will move that up. He is truly the Albert Einstein of our time and era. But he has such a servant heart, just like E equals MC squared. And I was really not good in physics. I've just got to tell you that, Dr. Glenn, I was really not good, but somehow I got a B- and I was happy. I just think the professor thought I was cute or something. So this is a whole new arena with me. But you're going to think he's got some cute ways of he's taking technology and bringing it into the commonplace, way beyond a fax machine, way beyond anything that we'll ever discover. So just get ready to hear about this life's milkshake moment, this life who's made a legacy of 5 decades of bringing life to science, bringing life to us with quantum field energy, with bioelectromagnetics engineering, you name it. I just like saying those words. It makes me feel a little more intelligent. But frankly, what I know is that he is one that you will take and listen to this over and over and over again. We have many guests on Life's Milkshake Moments, but to have a game changer in humanity is quite another level. We've taken it up a notch for sure. But the most important thing is that you decide when you're out there. I talked about my a number of pounds lost, the 1.1 million pounds lost. And yes, I still help people with their weight loss. We're going to have a panel in Boca of my 5 clients that I helped. One to get through taking their diabetic medication, one to get through taking high blood pressure medication, one to have remission from cystic fibrosis, all because of weight loss, because the body is a miracle-making machine, and it can and will heal itself. There will be over 700 pounds of toxic fat that's not represented on this stage when we're in Boca. But what's going to be represented on this stage is a life force. You're going to feel it in a minute here. Before we go to our commercial break, I can truly say that when you have a vision and mission to fruition like this, with our brand Healthopedia, I'm humbled and honored to have him on our stage and our program and in the air and the media today. It's what Dr. Les Brown says, the honorary doctor, of course, but we love to call him Dr. Les. It is necessary for you to do what only you can do. Go about it as though your life depends on it, because at the end of the day, it does. So what can you take out of this quantum physics, bioengineering world that can enhance your life so that you can live like your life depends on it? This is what we're all about. This is what we'll do. And this is what I know, is that we do this. Why? Because energy and vitality creates longevity. Now, going into my 8th decade, I'm living proof. I feel more vital, more alive, and more ready for what I'm intended to do in the 4th quarter of my life, no longer in overtime, 4th quarter of my life than ever before. And you will feel this passion and deliverance to humanity with Dr. Glen Rein, and I will introduce him to you as soon as we have our commercial from one of our main brand sponsors, Live Freely. LiveFreely.today is a proactive aging brand. What do? They help adult children to adult their parents through those times of going ahead and going into that geriatric life. So make sure that you check them out at LiveFreely.today. They will be in Boca, and keep something in mind. We call him Bestitarian Buddy, because how can you be your best? You're going to hear about the best of the best with Dr. Glen Rein, but what can you do with your life's milkshake moment? What do you do to build the ice cream, the whipped cream, the sprinkles, and the cherry on top? You will get all of that in just a minute. So take a look, take a listen to Bestitarian Buddy and Proactive Aging.
Aging seniors face a variety of challenges when it comes to their health and well-being. Now, there's a way to take control of aging. Meet Buddy, your personal health assistant. Buddy is a cutting-edge digital health solution that empowers seniors and their caregivers to be proactive in aging. The platform works on smartwatches worn by the senior and paired to their phone. Buddy automatically detects, predicts, and prevents falls. If a fall is detected, your loved one's watch will vibrate and display fall detected, I'm okay, or help me. At the same time, an alert is sent to the caregiver and a 5-minute countdown begins. If the alert is not addressed within the 5 minutes, Buddy will automatically connect to 911. Many times, a loved one is prescribed a walker or cane when they become a fall risk. Through Bluetooth and gamification, Buddy encourages the use of assistive walking devices by providing points that can be converted to gift cards. Buddy also reminds your loved ones to take their medications on time. One of its most innovative features, Buddy uses all the data it collects to create a personalized baseline and measures deviations to alert of potential health issues. Gain greater connectedness, peace of mind, independence, and security through Buddy, your personal health assistant. To learn more, visit www.buddylife.com.
Everyone knows someone who needs a buddy in their life. So pass on the word, because it will change a life, change a soul, and change the quality of your senior's life. And speaking of quality, make sure, as we've rebranded our YouTube channel to Healthopedia 365, check us out with other just incredibly interesting topics, what we're doing here with Healthopedia and what we have created here for you. So make sure you check out on YouTube, Healthopedia 365, go subscribe, go look at the brand, but it's more than that. You will see articles, you will see videos, short videos that we can do together at all times to help and elevate, as I say, one healthy choice, one healthy meal, 1 pound lost, one vitality and energy life regained at a time. This is what we do. This is who we are. And this is who I'm bringing up to the stage right now. Dr. Glen Rein, PhD, hails from Boston, Massachusetts, but as now a chief scientific officer, but he's a senior researcher with strategic experience in discovering, targeting, and applying these new technologies. He's an innovator. These bioactivities for conception and creation. He has things that are patented, published, you name it, but cutting edge scientific research. It's like what he plays. It's like his sandbox. Like my husband plays with bones and likes to see what's under the water. He sees what's ever in the energy. And he's a board member of several international organizations. He's been hailed to have graduated with his PhD from the University of London. That got my attention, having a husband that was an Oxford grad. But it is my honor and my delight to bring Dr. Glen Rein to the stage, the Dr. Glen Rein, like the river. And I would say, welcome to Life's Milkshake Moments, Dr. Glen.
Well, thank you very much. I'm laughing away here. Thanks for the invitation, and nice to meet everyone there, at least virtually, because virtual is the magic word. You said in your introduction, it's great, energy and vitality. Okay.
Yes.
So in science, they put them together and they call that not vital energy, but virtual energy. And virtual energy is very distinct from ordinary energy that we think about, like light and sound. Are also forms of energy. There are many different forms of energy, but in science, the virtual energy is the stuff they put in the garbage can that they don't know what it is, and they don't know how to explain it, and there's no physical mathematical equations to describe it, and but it ends up in the mathematical equation. Sometimes the mathematical equation predicts the system can go backwards in time, for example. And that's not supposed to happen. So they go like, well, this is too confusing. We're just going to dump it in this category called virtual. But in reality, that's the level of the quantum. So nowadays they go like, oh, it's quantum. And that's the magic word. And that's what you started the whole conversation about. So how do you want to do this? I could just rattle off for an hour here, or you could ask me specific questions.
And I knew that this was going to be like this. This is when I get you and Dr. Jim together. I'm just going to sit back and be the wallpaper, because your brilliance, I already feel like I've learned something. That's what professors do from the University of London. I would like to just give a little bit of an overview, and then what you're doing with void space technologies and what we're doing in Boca, but bioelectromagnetics. Ladies and gentlemen, don't you just feel a little like more intelligent that you can say bioelectromagnetics? Share with us, and I'm glad I made you laugh, because that is a form of vital energy as well. But I meant every word of it.
Laughter,
About
yes, right,
yes.
true. So you want me to
So
talk about bioelectromagnetics?
yeah,
You
so
want me to talk about void space technology? You want me to
yes,
talk about
let's just
another
spend a couple of
pillar?
minutes. Let's just spend a couple of minutes on what is bioelectromagnetics.
Okay, so it's a scientific group, an established organization composed of physicists, engineers, and biologists, and they
Mm,
all come together to study the biological effects of electromagnetic fields. Now, the group is divided into two. Half of them are interested in power lines and cell phone radiation and harmful radiation,
sure.
what energy in the environment is doing to the body in a bad way. And the other
Uh-huh.
half are interested in using energy to heal the body. So I fall into that category because
Wonderful.
energy is so complicated and there's so many different types of energies. Some are good for the body and some are bad. So
Sure.
that's what the society is all about, studying that kind of energy. But they're very limited because it's only one kind of energy, the electromagnetic energy. There are so many more and different kinds of energy out there. And because of my nature, and you're talking about the gifts that God gave me and everything, well, yeah, my interest, and it's almost like I was told to do this or guided, and it's more of a knowing. It's just like, well, yeah,
Yes.
there's electromagnetic energy, and but there's another energy that's even below that and more fundamental. And the lower energy controls the higher energy, electromagnetics, and then the electromagnetic fields control the body because they resonate directly with the body, whether it's the cells or the molecules in the body. So that's why everyone is obsessed with the electromagnetic fields in the body. But there's
Yes.
all kinds of other fields in the body. In fact,
The body.
I wrote an article about that. I was inspired because what happened in the 1980s and 90s was the Department of the government was interested in how different energies affect the body, but and they called and the energies that were in the body, in addition to the chemicals, and they called that the biofield. They gave it a scientific name, and they made it legitimate, and it was 99% about the electromagnetic energy fields in
Uh-huh.
the body.
Right.
There are
Gotcha.
two parts of this story here. One is the energy fields outside of the body
Outside
generated
or
from the
in.
machine and the stuff that's inside. And the stuff on the outside resonates with the stuff on the inside. And that's what causes the body and the biochemistry and the physiology to change.
Makes total sense. And I know a lot of people that are in my field, a lot of naturopathic doctors that are very interested in biohacking, but you've really hacked it to take it up to the positive form. And that's why I really wanted you to delve into that, because that is so necessary. I mean, and then you brought in what you're doing now, and I will say the quantum biology. So look up quantum dash biology.org, which is Dr. Glenn's site. When we are here in Boca, you're representing as one of your many companies, though it is Void Space Technologies. And Void Space Technologies is the company. I want to give a shout out as we're going into Boca. What a beautiful thing that Jeremy and Jason, because they had really sincerely not good. They just had situations that they can't be in Boca, and then they send you me, Dr. Glen Rein. And I mean, and I just felt like I was ready to jump through the phone. And then then I met David Dennis. I'm not sure whether he's a doctor, but he might as well be, who will be my guest on Mindset Mondays. It was just phenomenal to have you people come in and you professionals come in to really enhance bokeh. But we're going to talk about that in a minute. I want to just ask you about water research and how you brought the the electrobiomagnetics together with photobiology and water research. Now there is a trifecta. Can you expound on that?
Yeah, well, a big part of the physical body is not only the cells in the body and the chemicals, the biochemicals in the body. My PhD is actually in biochemistry because I realized, oh, that's where it's all happening. And then I realized, no, there's a level under that. And then the electromagnetics. And then I realized there's a level under that, the quantum, which is what I do for quantum, for void space technology. Their website, by the way, is voidspacetech.org. Because the whole idea of healing and treating the body with energy rather than with herbs or drugs, which work at the chemical level, is that because these levels are fundamental underneath the physical chemical level, and therefore control and regulate the biochemical level. So now the system is even more complicated because the biochemical level is all biological systems, cells, molecules, anything is surrounded by water. So if you're going to influence the body with energy, external energy, the energy has to go through the water to get to the cells.
Makes sense.
Sometimes it's changed by the water. Sometimes it's eaten by the water. The water literally gobbles it up or absorbs it, is the technical term, and changes it. So by the time it gets to the cells, it's slightly different. But this is kind of the basic problem that we have, because water by itself, it has amazing properties. There's a whole group in Europe that studies this. Jerry Pollack's group, who wrote a book called The Fourth Phase of Water, which is about water and the fact that water has structure to it, and it can take on different structures, which themselves radiate energy. So the relationship between all these different subjects I'm talking about is very complex, but just to know that we're now considering water, and that the water around the cells can inform it and regulate and control the cells. So you were using energy to create order around the molecules and the cells, to create order and coherence in the cells. And coherence
makes total sense. We were water babies when we were in the womb. We need to be water babies for energy, correct?
And the beauty of this whole thing is that the quantum energy fields, they kind of like go right through the water and aren't absorbed by the water, and go directly into the energy level of the cell, the quantum energy level of the cell. So you kind of are able to get a more direct healing effect when you're working with quantum energy, because it doesn't have to go through that barrier of the water around the cells. And that's what the technology in void space is all about. Quantum energy devices. We have a bed that does that, and there are some other products that also generate quantum energy, resonate with the quantum energy in the body, and promote healing at the deepest level.
And when you have 1 + 1, it's 2. But when you have something like this, it's a compounded effect. That's my simplistic way of saying it. I can truthfully say, way back, just to give you a little side note, I had a pretty bad accident. I was a resident for a while in the ICU from a car accident, and they said my short-term memory would not be here. Well, you see, it's here. Okay. So this was 10 years ago technologies. And I found out about a healing bed that was at that point, you're going to laugh, Glenn, but it was far infrared, acupressure, and massage. But just that frequency, having that laying on that bed, once I got home, people could not believe that she's going to be back. There's nothing wrong here. See, because all you need is that healing mechanism. Now you've taken it to the 20, I'll say this is till the 22nd century. and we're doing it here with you. So you make it sound so simplistic. So you've got a new toy with this new bed. So what else are you doing with being a chief scientific officer with Void Space Technologies? Please tell.
Well, my job there is to validate that the products that actually affect the body, affect the biofield, affect the quantum field, and affect the divine intelligence inside of us all. And that's a bit of a challenge because you can't really measure a quantum field because it functions at the quantum level. The quantum level, we should go back a step there and define our terms here, like the quantum level. What's he talking about? Right?
Yes, let's define that. That's exactly where I was going. What is quantum? Except it's another thing that you can have another letter for Scrabble with Q. Now we have quantum.
So the body. I was trying to define it in terms of energy. We have quantum energy, electromagnetic energy, light energy, sound energy. And that quantum energy is the most fundamental. But what does a quantum energy mean? It means that the energy fields are functioning at the quantum level. The quantum level refers to a level of reality that functions very different than our ordinary 4 dimensions of space and time. In fact, the quantum level is beyond our 4 dimensions of space and time, so it can be called higher dimensional in nature. And there are tools and there are ways to tap into this quantum energy and bring this energy from the vacuum, energy from the 0 point field. These are the physics terms that they use. But this is the kind of, and if you're a physicist, you use those terms. If you're religious, you would call I call these energies divine energies because they're coming down from the spiritual world and ultimately from God. So if you can tap into this kind of energy, then you can ultimately heal your body at the highest level.
So quantum, what was the second one?
Electromagnetic.
Electromagnetic.
In the electromagnetic domain, there are many different types of electromagnetic energy. Light is an example, but then there's also sound, which is different. And then there's the physical body.
Well, there we go. And you've given us all 4 of these quantum. Isn't this a good enough reason to go shag your ticket to Healthopedia 365? We've got 10 more tickets that we can serve you. Why? Because it's going to be this kind of erudite headiness that's going to bring us to a whole new realm with health and humanity. So let's take a look, take a listen to why is Healthopedia different? Why are we different with this? Because this is the process. We'll experience health, not just learn about it. Come join us. Thinking Dr. Glen's going to head this off, and we're ending with Jamie Kerr, the mind kite mentalist from the UK. See, all things, Glen, came from the UK. Your University of London PhD. Back to Jamie Kerr. It's all about this British health. But let's take a look, take a listen to the process. The process, the secrets of the universe revealed. Want to look and feel great? We invite you to experience a whole new paradigm with exuberant, optimal health. Experience it yourself. Why only hear about it? Join us and learn to optimize your health and rid your body of disease. You're already healthy? Then come extend your life and feel your vitality soar. You will learn how to use all 5 aspects of life that keep you alive and cause you to flourish. Learn how world champion athletes use these living skills to set new world records. Align yourself to the circadian rhythms of the universe that regulate all things. Experience a meditation to clear the mind by eliminating stress, preventing degenerative health. How would you like to have the skill to balance your body chemistry every time your organs need it? Leading the way is Dr. James Marinakis, a worldwide leader in this field. Having treated over 35,000 people over 10 years, He's a homeopath, naturopath, and acupuncture physician. Find out why he changed his focus from treatment to teaching the secrets of life, how he put himself through this process and found the missing link to the chain of life. People don't want to just get healthy, they want to stay healthy as long as they can. By incorporating the process into your daily life, you will heal yourself not only from aches and pains and diseases, but it will give you the vital energy you need to cycle through the emotions that cause disease in the first place. Wouldn't it be great to identify these emotions? Wouldn't it be great to identify which emotions are dominating your life, stopping you from experiencing true joy and bliss? Imagine what it would be like to reprogram your biological computer. You will. Come set yourself free on a journey forever. Hold hands with the universe for just a little while and see what life brings you in return.
The main reason I believe people's health is declining globally is because they don't do the things every day that they need to maintain themselves. They don't walk enough, they don't get enough nutrients, they accumulate way too much stress. They don't expose themselves to nature. They work under artificial lights that damage the rods and cones of their eye, their brain, disturb functions of their liver. Everybody wants to be free from disease, and they want to enjoy a long and happy life. At the Personal Performance Institute, we teach you how to do exactly that. It starts right in the beginning. The very first things you'll do, which are simple instructions, will improve your health, and they will make you feel better about yourself. Not believe that you feel better about yourself, but actually feel better about yourself. That's what the Personal Performance Institute can do for you.
And that's what we're going to be doing in Boca, the process. Health expanded simply for personal implementation. And you just fit so right in to this philosophy, Glenn. It, as Dr. Bernie Siegel would say, who was our anchor author for Healthopedia Foundations, our best-selling book behind me, there are no coincidences. So tell us more. How do, as you've just seen this, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, Dr. Glenn, but how seeing the expose, the minute and a half commercial, how does that just tap into what you're going to be sharing in Boca?
Oh, I have a one-word answer. Two words. The mind. It was mentioned about clearing the mind, and that is certainly a first step. But there's another couple of steps after that. Basically, we're talking about informing the mind. Yes, you have to get rid of the garbage, but then you got to put in good stuff. You got to put in the right thoughts and the right intentions and the right imagery. And that's a component. I don't know if it's actually part of the program, folks, because I haven't read the book yet, but I will before.
I think you got an autographed copy, didn't you?
I didn't get it yet.
Oh my goodness gracious! What's wrong with the mail?
Well, I live in Boston.
Oh,
that explains everything, I guess, maybe. But anyway, so to finish the thought there, the thought, yes, it's the thought. It's the thoughts and emotions and intentions that really are underlying our behavior and our ability to control our body, our behavior, and our health. So I want to I mean, I could elaborate that. I have written a couple of scientific articles on what the mind is. I mean, I'm trained as a neuroscientist, technically.
correct.
But they don't talk about the mind. They talk about the brain. And you have to go to philosophy in order and physics to understand the mind. Actually, physicists don't talk much about it either, but some do. In the context of the mind being an energy.
Yes.
And if it is an energy, then we can learn to control energy with our mind.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, it is the mind that determines whether or not you choose to eat an apple or a brownie.
Yes.
I mean, part of it's behavior
Choice.
and it's habit. I mean,
Yes.
right. But it's a choice, right? And there's a part of the brain that controls what kind of choices we make. But ultimately, it's the mind that is the boss here, because once the mind decides to do something, that's what happens. So you can learn to control your mind, but in order to control the mind, you have to go above the mind, and there is no real word for that. So I call that the higher mind, as
Mm,
distinct from the lower mind, because it's the lower mind that it's connected to the body and to the emotions,
yes.
whereas the higher mind is connected to spirit.
And isn't it true? I was thinking what Bernie Siegel always says: the older you get, now that we're both, I'm approaching my eighth decade. You are, and
Yeah.
in the
Talking.
children. Yes, there we go. But children in our 70s, that the older you become, the more mystical you become. Therefore, the more spiritual. I think that's very, very true.
Well, that doesn't seem to apply to many of my scientific colleagues. I think the older they get, the more stuck in the mud they get.
Oh, but you are not there. I'm
I'm
talking
not.
to an enlightened soul. You know about that spirit. You know about that spirit. So give our audience a snippet about what you are going to be really talking about to bring this together with Healthopedia.
So, my basic message is that you don't. We have can gain control of our mind. That we are brainwashed, if you will. That's a big word, but we're
Mhm.
certainly programmed to believe X, Y, and Z. And we'll start with X, and that is that when you get sick, you got to go to a doctor. You got to
Yeah.
go to an outside expert, because you don't know your body. After all, it's your body. They know your body, and they know what's wrong with it. And I'm going, well, right, that's a bad starting point right there. But there's
Amen
now
to that. Amen to that. When I say it's the body is a miracle making machine, it
right,
can and will heal itself. I'm living proof 3 major times. Just
right.
say yes.
So that's one way to convince your mind that you have the power to heal yourself by having an experience like that and going through it. The other way is to convince your left brain that there's science behind the phenomena, and oh, it must be real. And oh, therefore I can accept it, and therefore I can do it. I can actually learn to control the mind. So I'm going to present some of the science behind how our thoughts and our emotions and our intention and our imagery that we create in our mind can promote healing. So by the end of the lecture, you're going to go, "Oh my God, it's true. It's all by the mind." Then I give you some techniques and explanation of how the higher mind can control the lower mind, and what the higher mind is, and how you can get there, and how you can use that to control the lower mind, to control your behavior and your health.
Well, that in of itself is a reason to go down to healthopedia365.com, grab a couple of the last tickets, but make sure Glenn, this is just a Glenn and Jody moment. I'm going to do it. I'm just feeling this generosity myself. Just go ahead and check this out before. Call 800-820-0584, and we'll do a BOGO or a half price ticket, because it's that important. If we just have this information to ourselves, what good is it, Glenn? What we're doing? Why did I go ahead and go from selling my practice, retiring, to so no, there's more? And in these 4 years, 49 times best-selling author. I'd never really published anything in my life. I'd written a lot of uh, articles, professional articles, but I hadn't really published. And so in a book, why does that happen? Because there's more inside of us. So how do you tap into that more inside of you? What are some of the techniques and tools that even Dr. Glenn uses when he's just with Glenn and Glenn?
Well, imagery. To me, imagery and intention,
Yeah.
uh, and and imagery. You don't when you're trying to work in the realm of the mind, you don't really know what kind of imagery to use. So I will teach you some techniques that are based on understanding exactly how the body utilizes energy. I mean, it sounds kind of ethereal, but the body does, they're called bioantenna, that the body does have a way of converting divine energy, if you will, into usable electromagnetic energy in the body. And so
Okay.
you can learn to do that with your mind, and the quantum energy wellness bed from Void Space Technology can facilitate that process. It's like
Makes
it's like wheels, training wheels, because most people, when they go into the realms of the mind and the higher mind, they kind of get lost and they go, well, where am I now, kind of thing. So the quantum energy wellness bed can actually help you achieve those goals.
because as you said, that's where you get into those tools. You said that at the very
Right.
beginning. You
Right.
you have these energies, but these are the tools. What other kind of tools are you creating in this amazing uh, world of toys that you've done with Void Space Technologies?
Well, to me, a big chunk of how energy heals is their frequency. Energy has lots of different properties and characteristics. Some energies are very forceful, some energies are very subtle, some energies you can see, like light, and light therapy is well known to be effective.
Sure.
And some energies have high frequencies, and some energies have low frequencies. And so it turns out that, and some energies are coherent, some are not coherent. There's all these different properties, but the frequency is actually quite intriguing to me, because there's now direct evidence that you change the frequency and you can change the biological effect that the energy field has on the body just by tweaking it a little bit, by changing the frequency.
Mm, mm,
You
mm,
can
mm.
make, not only you can make it go from effective to non-effective, you can make it go from effective to harmful just by changing the frequency.
Well, that makes so it says I just had to show this, and I think you've already made me more intelligent because I was able to get this screen up with my screen share. So check this out. Um, about Void Space Technologies. Doesn't that look like a site you want to go to? My goodness gracious. It's like what is out there. It's more than we've ever imagined. So check out voidspacetech.org, voidspacetech.org, because you've now seen the guy behind the tech. So when you get into this electromagnetic, we have a few more minutes. I'm looking here, all the things that you've done. I mean, this, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, this CV, um, my printer talked to me after. I said, is that enough? Is this all about one person?" When I started printing this out, and I said, "Yes, he's it's my guest." But you've been with research from everything from Estee Lauder to cosmetics to bring that into the medicine of skin, because we are water and skin beings for sure. But then so many just professors at that of traditional, like Mount Sinai Medical School, Stanford University, you name it, the Institute of Heart Math. I love that one, by the way. Harvard Medical School, whatever. How did your seemingly, I'm going to say, our philosophies in Eastern medicine are sometimes not as widely accepted and acclaimed in traditional medical schools. I'm just going to put it out where it is, and to think that they embraced all of these schools. John F. Kennedy University in Orinda, California, goes on and on and on. All of these companies, but most of all, these traditional medical places embraced your technology. How did that happen for you to merge the bridge?
Well, they actually don't embrace my technology. That's the reason I left academia, because they not only do they not understand it, but there is no way that I could even do that kind of research at a
Hmm.
major university. Electromagnetic fields, yes. When I was assistant professor at Mount Sinai, I was studying the effects of electromagnetic fields at the cellular level. But I'm interested in the levels and the energies below the electromagnetic, the more fundamental, and that's where the Bioelectromagnetic Society only studies certain kinds of energies, and they're allowed, if you will, by the scientific community. But when you start looking at these other levels underneath that, they go, whoa, what's that? Like scalar energy is an example of that. And at the time when I left, I was studying scalar energy. It's a subtle form of electromagnetic energy. And now I'm studying quantum energy. And the irony of the whole thing is, like 30 years later, the universities are now studying subtle energy effects on the body in the form of quantum biology. Quantum biology is the study of quantum fields, the most fundamental energy fields, on the body. And quantum biology as a field is now accepted by mainstream science, and Harvard and LA and University of Chicago all have quantum biology departments. So it's an ironic twist of fate that the work that I did 50 years ago that I started has now, I've come around full circle, and I'm meeting beast, if you will, the establishment, the traditional scientific medical community, back head to head, so to speak, and are able to talk to these guys at a much different level now, because they've evolved to the point where they are now finally saying, oh, well, there are other kinds of energies out there other than electromagnetic.
So the eyes have opened up. So then that's a pathway for your eyes to be there, because obviously you're cutting edge. Obviously, I tell the story that when I started to become a health coach, my son was a bun in the oven. And I just knew that breast milk was the best milk. And I knew that I needed to do some research. Went to a Leche League meeting, Dr. Glenn, and I saw this food over at this table, lovely home in Atlanta, Georgia, where I was living. And I said, so we're putting this in this. And I'm sure you've had at times like that. You're just outspoken with people that don't know. And it was the president of La Leche League International. That's how I got into health coaching. And she said to me, well, if you know something about so much about this, then why don't you do something about it? And I wrote the nutritional protocols for breastfeeding and also prenatal care for expectant mothers, and it's still in their protocols today. As a matter of fact, this lovely lady endorsed my solo book, 21 Days to Your Best You. She said, I'm retired, but you're not, obviously. But isn't it wonderful to be in that cutting edge when people don't know and come through to the other side, to give them the keys for Pandora's box? What are some other keys that you've seen in the length of time that you've been doing this and living this for 5 decades? What other things to fruition have you seen that you've opened up the box for people?
Well, well, the best example that I can give you is an article, scientific article that I wrote. I'm actually finally writing a book, but about the mind and the power of the mind, and in the context of psychoneuroimmunology. You think bioelectromagnetics is a big word. Psychoneuroimmunology, that's an even bigger word. But psycho means brain and mind. Neuro is the nervous system. Immunology, of course, is the immune system.
Sure.
And the fact that these three things are linked and known to exist, the relationship between them is an example of how the medical establishment is moved on. But in terms of I went into a track there. You're asking me about what other things?
I mean, but this isn't good enough. You were just fine on this track. I knew you would be. But that psychoneuroimmunology, because we all of a sudden, since COVID, now people are aware of the immune system. If you would write something even about an autoimmune disease, people would look at you like you had 3 heads. Now we know that the immunology is really key. We figured that out. The immune system. So how did you, I mean, you talk about cutting edge, you know, power of the mind. I just can't wait to be my little part in this book for you. I really can't. And I think obviously, how did that come about? How did you develop a new model, for instance? I mean, there's just a new model for the effects of stress on psoriasis for
Oh,
nothing.
yeah, that's when I was at Stanford, where I learned and studied psychoneuroimmunology because we were using psoriasis as an example of a disease where the mind is clearly involved. And, that's when I kind of realized that, well, so there's the neuroimmunology. Okay, the nervous system controls the immune system. Let's go back a step here. Now, that right there is a major statement because then the nerves are only supposed to innervate the organs traditionally, and therefore could affect an organ like the adrenal gland or whatever, or the muscles are a good example, the neuromuscular junction, the junction between the nerves and the muscles. But then they discovered that the nervous system can affect the immune system. Well, that's like one system affecting the other system, not by, and that kind of opened up Pandora's box because the mind can control the nervous system, and the nervous system can control the other systems in the body. So that's where when I realized that.
Chain link effect.
Yeah, right. When I realized that, I said, well, you got to go to the source of all the ailments in the body, and it's through the mind that we can learn to really ultimately heal ourselves.
Well, and the idea, I think the good book had something to say about that. So the thigh bone's connected to the ankle bone, and it was right there all along, right? And so in knowing this, and Dr. Glenn, I knew this time would fly by. I mean, it's just so great to be around people that just elevate you. That and the fact that you're so humble and doing this, but I want to go through one other thing that I know you've done work. Obviously, this with oncology is part of this healing the mind, and I will say why this is important to me. 23 years ago, the diagnosis was I had 6 months to live. Well, that's how I attracted Dr. Jim into my life, and the rest is history. So my diagnosis was not the prognosis. When you're talking about healing the mind or whatever, I'm sure there's a link with oncology because cancer is just rampant right now in all over the world.
So the only thing I could add to that is that the ability of the mind, because its connection to the divine source, has
Yeah.
the power to cure anything that's wrong with the body, whether it's a cold or a cancer or things that don't even start with C. And that's part of our brainstorming, because a brain warping, that we're programmed to believe that, oh, it's cancer. Oh yeah, I got to go and get drugs, and I got to wipe out my immune system and get these drugs. And one example that I can give you from my own research in the lab was an experiment I did with cancer cells growing in a Petri dish, and studying the ability of healers to project an energy from their body onto a Petri dish, which is a tumor outside of the body. But
Right.
the same phenomena can occur with the energy affecting a tumor inside your body. It's much easier for me as a scientist to study cancer when it's outside of the body. So the point was that the healer could not only influence the growth and slow down the growth, but that with their mind and with their intention, but not only the intention, they needed to have love. They needed to have positive emotional feelings going on in their heart.
Yes.
In order for their mind to be able to do its thing and connect with and slow down the growth of a tumor cell. So right there, it's proof that there's energy coming from the body that can actually slow down the growth of a tumor. But also it tells us that you need to have not only the mind, but also the heart, and the heart in coherence, as they would say at the Institute of Heart Math, the heart in coherence, so that the positive emotions need to be part of the equation. And when you put the two together, you can literally heal anything.
Mind and heart. And actually, you will meet one of our authors when you get your book. Who knows where it is? I got to check on the tracking of that. You should have had that by Monday. I'm not sure why, but
I
it
don't,
must
but I'll call you.
yeah,
Get
it must be Boston. But Karen Rudolph is going to be talking about, her chapter is all about heart mapping and what can actually happen. So the synergy, the sense of heart with you, Dr. Glenn, I can truthfully say this has been an amazing, amazing interview. I want to thank you. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your heart map. So one last piece of wisdom, please. I know there's one more.
I kind of said the basics, but just the bottom line and the ultimate thing that you can learn and need to understand about our own bodies is the power of the mind. I mean, the mind is remarkable, but you need to learn to harness its power, and it's a skill that not only healers have, but anybody could learn it. And the first step in learning it is to understand it. And in order to understand it, if we bring in science, then your left brain will go, okay, this is real. And if it's real, that means I can do it and I can heal myself.
Heal your body, heal yourself. It's all in the power of the mind, that quantum energy, electromagnetic, light, and sound. You are all four. Those are the four corners of the building. As we're going to experience the process, Dr. Glenn, I said to you on the phone when we had our first initial interchange, thanks to Tom Chesser, that the process is really the beams, the fortress of the building, the roof, and the foundation. When Dr. Jim comes in and he opens the door, he is the drywall. And I've said that the speakers are really the paint and the wallpaper, but I've decided you're laying the tile as the wood flooring. You are the foundation, and there are no coincidences. Thank you, Dr. Burney, for your saying on this, that you're going to come in and lay the foundation so that we can hold hands with the universe for just a little while. See what's in store for you in Boca. See what's in store to just tapping into that brilliant Einstein mind of yours, for real. The modern day Einstein. I'm probably going to introduce you like that. It'll be Dr. Glen Rein, like the river, but we're going to be flowing down that river of quantum energy. We're going to be flowing down that water. You are truly, this is my version of water. You ready? It's your humble and your hustle with your skills. In my case, it's health. And then you do it for humanity. That's what you have done. And that's what you're doing with your gifts. Dr. Glenn, thank you for being not only on Life's Milkshake Moment. You are the ice cream, you are the whipped cream, you're the cherry on top. And what you've said, ladies and gentlemen, is just the sprinkles. If you want the whole ice cream milkshake, come see us in Boca. And as I'm going to keep you on screen so you can see, because we are the same contemporaries, this has gotten to be viral, what Dr. Jim and I have done with Boca, because I say, if you have what we have, do what we do to get what we got. So take a look, take a listen. You'll be running on the beach with us here in 2 weeks. Do to get what we got. Because energy creates vitality, which transcends to longevity. We're living proof. Do what I do to get what I got. Be in Boca to find out the keys to your health kingdom.